What's up, world? I'm Cameron McKinney, and this is Pop Culture Spotlight, a podcast about the movie The Bride. Here's a quick synopsis. In 1936 Chicago, a now centuries-old Frankenstein's monster goes to Dr. Cornelia Euphronius to create a romantic companion. The film stars Jessie, Buckley, Christian Bale, Peter Sarsgaard, Annette Bening, Penelope Cruz, John Magaro, and Jake Gyllenhaal. Standout performances: Jessie Buckley is on the cusp of becoming an Oscar winner for her work in the movie Hamnet, and in the movie The Bride, she could not give a more different performance. She plays Ida, who has been reborn and doesn't remember anything. She's really going for it in a fun way. She's pure chaos. It's fair to say that this is a showy performance, and I don't say that as a criticism, although some disagree. In the film, she does multiple accents, some better than others. Buckley is one of the few performers I want to see give a performance like this. For the record, I agree with the consensus that she's way better in Hamnet, but is very good in The Bride. I will admit, it is hard to rate her performance when we live in a world where Emma Stone and Poor Things exist. Stone is in a better movie for sure, but also gives the more memorable performance. I do wonder what's next for Jessie Buckley. She's getting the ultimate praise in an Oscar, but then at the same time, she's being criticized for The Bride for being over the top. Without a doubt, she's becoming a bigger name. I don't know what that means when it comes to her future movie choices. Her next film is an adaptation of the novel Free Incestuous Sisters with Dakota Johnson, Saoirse Ronan, and Josh O'Connor. Jessie Buckley is a critical favorite. I mean, movie critics absolutely love her. My big question is she becoming a major movie star? I don't think The Bride is helping with that at all. I really like this movie. I like her work in it. I don't think enough people have seen this movie to praise or even have an opinion about this particular performance. More people have seen Hamnet than they've seen The Bride, which I didn't necessarily see coming. Hard to believe it's been 4 long years since Christian Bale was in a movie. That year, 2022, he was in Taika Waititi's Thor: Love and Thunder, David O. Russell's Amsterdam, and Scott Cooper's The Pale Blue Eye. Now, I will admit, I like these performances probably more than most, but I wouldn't put them against his best. And now he's back as Frankenstein's monster in The Bride. He, of course, has a history with writer-director Maggie Gyllenhaal, his co-star in The Dark Knight. She played Rachel. Bale is very good in this movie, but it's not his film. And I do think him and Buckley have good chemistry. They are two actors I wasn't really sure how well they were going to fit together, and thankfully I was wrong about feeling that way. Both of their performances are at the same volume, if that makes any sense. Right now, people love to compare Bale's monster to Jacob Elordi's and Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein, but they are extremely different and in movies that feel polar opposites. I would like to say I'm not crazy. For as big of a fan as I am as Christian Bale, Jacob Elordi is the better Frankenstein's monster by far, and he deserved his Academy Award nomination. This just isn't top 5, even top 10 Christian Bale. Bale has some big movies on the way. He's playing Al Davis in Madden with Nicolas Cage playing John Madden. These are two of my favorite actors, and we are finally going to see them in a movie together. And then he's going to be in Michael Mann's Heat 2, presumably with Leonardo DiCaprio. Arguably the two best actors today in one movie. Sign me up. Heat was all about seeing De Niro and Pacino together. Now Heat 2, for me anyways, is about seeing Bale with DiCaprio. Annette Bening, for me, is one of the best actresses who have yet to win an Oscar. She should have 2 by now, one for The Kids Are All Right and one for 20th Century Woman. I really like her in The Bride. Her character, Dr. Cornelia Euphronius, is really interested in Frank, and because of that, ends up helping him. I just got a sense that she was having a lot of fun with this movie, and she committed to the proper tone. Annette Bening understands what movie she's in. The other two significant names in this movie are Peter Sarsgaard and Penelope Cruz, playing two detectives who are after Frank and the bride, and the film is trying to get you to make a connection between Buckley's the bride and Cruz's Malloy, who is really the brains of the operation, and I found that to be effective, and there should have been more of that in this movie. The Bride is a film where the female characters are far more interesting than the male ones. Give me more scenes with Annette Bening and Jessie Buckley. Give me a great scene with Jessie Buckley and Penelope Cruz. I understand the idea to build this movie around Jessie Buckley and Christian Bale, and you could still do that and give me more Annette Bening and Penelope Cruz. I think it could have been done, and it would have been a better movie for it. Maggie Gyllenhaal made big waves with her directorial debut, The Lost Daughter. Olivia Colman and Jessie Buckley were nominated for Oscars and was given a big budget to make this film, The Bride, and I just hate the narrative surrounding this movie, that it's too ambitious. I believe Maggie Gyllenhaal made the exact movie she wanted to make, flaws and all, and there are flaws. It's a complicated movie to talk about in terms of what it's trying to say. To put it simply, I think the movie is about how the bride, played by Jessie Buckley, is more than just the Bride of Frankenstein, and she is somebody who's been done wrong in life. There are two movies to compare the bride to, and they are Bonnie and Clyde and Natural Born Killers. For me, it has much more in common with the latter, because like Natural Born Killers, this is a movie that is taking big swings. Some work more than others, and it's a movie that is really committing to its style, which if you don't care for, it's going to turn you off to the movie. And that's the legacy of Natural Born Killers. It's a movie with strong defenders and strong detractors. And in a similar way, the reactions to The Bride have been extreme. I am somewhere in the middle. I think this movie has some great scenes. One of them being Frank confronting his favorite movie star, played by Jake Gyllenhaal. I thought that was far and away Christian Bale's best scene in this movie. I can't even explain why. It's just one of those scenes you need to experience. People have been talking about The Bride far before this film even came out, because it was originally supposed to be a Netflix movie, and then it switched hands to Warner Brothers and was going to come out in the fall, and then was pushed back to now. So expectations for this movie were lowered, and some people thought that the movie must be a disaster for it to have been pushed back in the first place. I do not believe that The Bride is a great movie. I find it very hard to believe that there are people out there that believe this to be a great movie. But I like this movie a lot, and I think it is better than most studio movies, which are usually films that take absolutely no risk. I mean, you watch them and you go, yeah, that was fine, that was mid. The Bride is the type of movie that demands a reaction from the audience. It's the type of movie that makes you feel something about it, which is something that every movie should be going for. You should not be leaving a movie theater and going, oh, that was just okay. No, I want to have a visceral reaction to the movies that I am seeing, and The Bride thankfully gave me that. It's also one of those movies you are going to think about long after you saw it. You're going to have those thoughts. What was it I just saw on the screen? How do I really feel about what Jessie Buckley is doing in this movie? How do I really feel about what Christian Bale is doing in this movie? What exactly is Maggie Gyllenhaal going for when it comes to this film? Box office. Another thing that people are really talking about is the fact that so far The Bride has made just under $14 million. The film film cost over $85. So it's in a weird place in that it's a movie that's getting mixed reviews and not a ton of people are seeing it. It's a movie that wants to be an event film and it's not being treated like one. And I think for the people who have seen it, they are making fun of it because it's easy to do with a movie full of people really trying hard. The Bride is a movie that has the potential to grow a cult following, much like Francis Ford Coppola's Bram Stoker's Dracula. I compare the two because that, like this, has many intense performances at the center of it and is full of crazy accent work. I see The Bride as a movie that will grow a strong number of defenders in the next 3 to 5 years. It's just a good movie that is being trashed in the moment because of so many things that have very little to do with the movie itself. For one, the fact that the movie was delayed should have no bearing on how you feel about the movie. The other thing that I think people are harping on is the fact that this is coming out during the weeks that Jessie Buckley is the favorite to win Best Actress, that this could possibly impact her winning that award, that this could be her version of Norbit, the movie that cost Eddie Murphy winning his Oscar for Dreamgirls. That is not going to be the case. Jessie Buckley is going to win the Oscar no matter what. And I'll be honest, The Bride is not going to go down as a top 5 performance from Jessie Buckley, but it is definitely a worthwhile performance and one that I admire her for attempting to do. I feel the exact same way about all of my favorite actors. I want to see them show their range. I just don't want to see her just in period piece dramas like Women Talking and Hamnet. And I think this is something very different than what she's done before. It's fair to not like this movie for being chaotic and messy. I'm just here to say the movie is chaotic and messy on purpose. So I just don't buy the fact that this is a sophomore director who is in over her head. No, this is her making the exact movie she wanted to make. It's okay if you don't like it. That's kind of what I'm getting at. It feels like the people who really do not like the movie The Bride, there is no version of this movie that they would have liked, because this is what Maggie Gyllenhaal was going for. She was going for a movie that was in your face. She was not going for subtlety. You don't have Christian Bale play Frankenstein's monster if you're going for subtle. I guess I shouldn't be surprised by the strong reactions to this movie. I'm just surprised by how many people are surprised at what this movie is, because this is exactly what I was expecting from The Bride. I wasn't expecting a masterpiece. I wasn't expecting a movie that was going to compete for Oscars. I was expecting a movie that I was going to be thinking about for a long time. And I will repeat, if you are a fan of Oliver Stone's Natural Born Killers, I think you are in for a very good time when it comes to The Bride. Where I land with this one is this is a very good movie that did have the potential to be great. I wanted more screen time with Annette Bening and Penelope Cruz. I think that trio of Buckley, Bening, and Cruz give the best free performances in this movie, and that's not a knock against Christian Bale. He is very good in this movie and great in one particular moment with Jake Gyllenhaal. Getting back to the reactions of this movie, I'm just baffled by what modern movie audiences want, because if they got a version of The Bride that felt like a movie they've seen before, they would say this is boring, this is dull, they're not doing anything new here. What they got is something that's exciting, feels new. I'm all for people not liking a movie and criticizing it for the movie itself. I just think that The Bride is caught up in a bunch of talk that has absolutely nothing to do with the movie itself. Why do I care if The Bride makes back its $85 million budget? Yes, would it be nice if more people saw movies like The Bride? Absolutely, but it's not keeping me up at night. After watching The Bride, it's clear to me that Maggie Gyllenhaal should be given more opportunities to direct bigger, larger studio movies. Like, she has a distinct voice. She knows how to get good performances by great actors. I absolutely love the fact that Warner Brothers bought this movie and made this film, but I do wonder, would it have been better for the publicity for this film had it been released on Netflix? Like, would more people have seen the film The Bride if it were on Netflix? I mean, everyone feels like they've seen Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. And because The Bride was released in movie theaters, we're left talking about its poor box office results instead of the movie itself. Like, it is taking away the actual interesting conversations we can have regarding the film. I understand there are people who detest this movie, probably for good reasons, but the loudest people in the room are the ones who just want to talk about its lack of box office success, when the quality of the movie itself is the far more interesting topic. I am hopeful and do not think that this movie will have any negative impact on the careers of Maggie Gyllenhaal, Jessie, Buckley, and Christian Bale. In fact, I believe it should have a positive impact on all three of their careers. I believe that Maggie Gyllenhaal should be given more opportunities to direct bigger studio films. I think Jessie Buckley should be the lead of bigger studio movies. And as for Christian Bale, just keep being Christian Bale. Was it great for this movie to come out only a few months after Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein? Probably not. I like that movie a lot more than I like The Bride. But it's like what I was trying to say earlier. I think these are two movies that are going for different things. That movie is a retelling of Frankenstein. The Bride is attempting to be its own wholly original thing that's partially inspired by older movies. I also get the feeling that this is how I feel about The Bride right now. This is a movie that I think could grow on me over the years. Like, it's a movie I want to see a couple of more times before I make my final judgment on it, because it is a lot of a movie. Like, it is a lot. It is going for a lot of things. Jessie Buckley's performance is jarring. Christian Bale's performance is jarring. I think I got Annette Bening's performance the best on first viewing. Like, I understood what she's going for in this film. I was taken aback by Penelope Cruz in this movie. The same goes for Sarsgaard. Like, I just need to see this movie another few times. And for me, The Bride is definitely a movie that is deserving of multiple rewatches. As of this moment, it's a movie that I really like, that I wished I liked even more, and it has the possibility of becoming a movie I like even more than I do right now. Here's another thought I've had. I think Jessie Buckley winning the Oscar for Hamnet is going to be a good thing for The Bride, because I think people are going to go, wow, Jessie Buckley just won an Oscar for this movie, Hamnet. I'm going to go watch her other films, and at some point, people are going to give The Bride a chance. It stars a future Oscar winner and an Oscar winner. Even if Jessie Buckley weren't about to win an Oscar, even if this movie was a box office success, there is no world where this isn't a movie that is super divisive. It is not a movie for everyone, and I think that's a good thing. I think it's okay to have movies that aren't for everybody, and I think it's more than okay to have movies that get people to have extreme reactions about them. And The Bride is definitely one of those movies that's going to make you forced to choose a side. Are you on Team The Bride or aren't you? And if you haven't gathered by now, I am definitely on Team The Bride. Of course, Jessie Buckley is better in Hamnet. She's deserving of that Oscar victory she's about to have, but it's a good thing to see your favorite actors be in all different kinds of movies. She should want to do a horror thriller mystery like The Bride with a director like Maggie Gyllenhaal. I also want all of my favorite actors to give at times crazy bonkers performances like the one that Jessie Buckley gives in The Bride. Her go big or go home mentality in this movie should be celebrated, not questioned. Thanks for listening to this edition of Pop Culture Spotlight. I'm Cameron McKinney, and there'll be a new episode of the podcast every Thursday on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. I highly recommend you check out The Bride. Next week on the podcast, I'm talking about Emerald Fennell's Wuthering Heights, starring Margot Robbie and Jacob Elordi. So tune into that, and please rate, review, and subscribe.